Are we good to go? Are we live on Facebook?
I think we're going to be live just now. So I think
Perfect.
I'm going to say that we are live on Facebook. Yes, we are live on Facebook. Yes. So hi, Katarina. It's so
Hi.
lovely to have you. And I'm Denise, and I am the ED of the Toronto Vegetarian Association. And this is day 3 of our Veg Spring e-market.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so delighted to be doing this virtually, even though you know what's happening out there. We couldn't meet in person, but we have this great opportunity to keep things going. And I know for everyone in our community who loves doled up desserts, they're all going to be tuning in today to be able
Wonderful.
to see you prepare this recipe that you have told us and reminded us that this is a winning recipe from the Vegan Bake Off in
It
2018.
is. Yes, it was a component. So for everybody who's just joining us on Facebook, I've also got Instagram going on as well too. I'm Katarina. I'm the chief dessert designer and founder of Dolled Up Desserts. And Dolled Up Desserts is a gluten-free and vegan bakery and ingredient manufacturing company from Hamilton. Today, for the Veg Spring e-market with the Toronto Vegetarian Association, we're going to be making our super simple 3-ingredient caramel sauce. Was part of our Blonde Bombshell, which was like a caramel popcorn snickerdoodle blondie recipe that we made in 2018, which won the category for best gluten-free and vegan treat. So I'm really happy to share it because it's super easy and can really elevate like anything, whether it's salty or sweet. Like I'm putting this on pancakes after we're done here. I could even see this, like if you wanted to do some crazy stuff, like putting it on French fries, like gravy, or on pizza, like yeah, I think it's such a versatile sauce and it's really great on anything. So yeah, the sky's the limit with this, and I'm really excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah, that's great. So if you're loving Katarina's talk and demo, please continue to support the Toronto Vegetarian Association. Our website is veg.ca, so go on there, veg.ca/donate, and support us, you know, so that we can keep bringing all this exciting programming back to you. So I'm going to be leaving you, and I'm going to be having Katarina take over this feed. Okay, so let me just do something.
Amazing.
There.
Thank you so much, Denise, for the intro.
Sure, no problem. Take it over, Katarina.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So yeah, just ringing off of what Denise said, especially for the people on Instagram who are checking in with us. The Toronto Vegetarian Association is a wonderful non-for-profit organization based out of Toronto, of course, that supports in the education and advocacy for vegetarian or plant-based vegan diets and lifestyles. 100%, they've been supporting Dolled Up Desserts since day one in every single way possible, and they require, you know, donations and support in their own ways. So if you're interested in learning more about plant-based diets or lifestyles, make sure you check out the Toronto Vegetarian Association at Toronto Veg on Instagram. I'm going to get into making this caramel sauce. It's super duper easy. If you're at home right now and you want to follow along and make it, it's really, really straightforward. The first things first, we need the 3 main ingredients. Now, I lied when I said it's 3 ingredients. It's more like 5 ingredients, but you can do it with just 3 ingredients and you're going to get a great result. So to make any caramel sauce in general, caramel is caramelized sugar. So it means sugar that was heated up beyond 290 degrees Fahrenheit. And it becomes like a hard candy. Now to make it into a sauce, you got to add some liquids and some fat. So traditional caramel sauce with dairy in it usually is white sugar, some sort of corn syrup or other syrup, and then butter and cream. So the white sugar part, super easy to have vegan. Red Path sugar is totally vegan. They've been vegan since the beginning. And for those of you who don't know, white sugar and brown sugar that's refined sometimes isn't vegan because it's usually refined with bone char. So Red Path, refined in Toronto, always vegan, good way to go. Then we've also got our corn syrup as our other base. And we use corn syrup because it's got the best properties when being heated up to create like a sticky and goopy caramel. You can use other sugars in place here. You can use unrefined cane sugar here. Coconut sugar, I'm sure would work too. I don't know about the burning properties here. And then in terms of other syrups, if you don't want to use corn syrup, which is the ideal in the situation, you could probably get away with something like a maple syrup and agave. But again, results will vary if you change your ingredients. But the main important thing that always can be a struggle when making vegan caramel sauce is how to replace the fat. Cream, heavy cream and butter is usually at 28 to 30, oh no, it's usually about, you want 56 to 84% butter fat. And in a lot of non-dairy butters or milks, you're not finding that fat at all because we're not, using animal fats here. We're using plant fats, and plant fats usually aren't as high in saturated fat. But there is one plant fat that is amazing for this, and it is coconut cream. Specifically canned coconut cream. You can't, regular coconut milk in a pack does not have the same fat as this stuff. And I specifically say this stuff because this is Savoy coconut cream. This is the premium bougie coconut cream, okay? It is, when I go and pick it up from a distributor, you're like, oh, you're buying the expensive one. Yes, it is the best. Look at this. Half a cup has 100% of your daily saturated fat. It's crazy. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a heavy cream and or butter, and we use it in so many applications. This is probably my favorite vegan ingredient of all time. So Savoy coconut cream, we're using the bigger can here for this recipe. It's 525 milliliters. You can pick these up at any Asian grocery store. So I buy them at Nations. I've seen them at Morning to Midnight. I've seen them at TNT. Buy Savoy is most important. And with their coconut cream, if you can't find Savoy, it's not the end of the world. You can use any coconut milk that's in the can. What you're going to need to do is separate it. So in coconut cream, there is water and then there's the actual fatty cream. We don't want any of the water for this. We just want that fatty cream. And so the best way to do that is to leave your can in the fridge overnight, 24 hours. And what happens is the water will separate down to here, and the fat, because it's fat rises in water, will go up to here. And so once that's separated, you'll actually open your can from the bottom, not the top, because then you'll have all the water right there. You can drain it and then scoop out all the cream that you need from here. Super easy. You get all your cream out. It looks something like this. So for this recipe, just going back to the ingredients we need 1 can of coconut cream. You're going to need 3/4 of a cup of white sugar, and then you're going to need 1/2 cup of golden corn syrup. That is the absolute minimum. I'm also going to be putting in a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to be putting in about 2 tablespoons of earth balance at the end. And those help with making the consistency of the caramel sauce really nice. One final thing that you can add to it as well too is you can add in 1/2 teaspoon of agar-agar. So adding in this 1/2 teaspoon of agar-agar is going to make a nice thick caramel sauce, almost on the borderline of the ganache. And we actually do this to make thicker caramel sauces for layers within our cake. So if you want something that's a little bit more dense, I put in the agar-agar right when it's boiling, and we'll get to that point and I'll tell you all about it when we get there. But yeah, so going over it again, large can coconut cream, drained and separated, 3/4 a cup of white sugar, 1/2 cup of golden corn syrup, 10 grams or a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 tablespoons of earth balance. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So with your tools, what you need is a small sauce pot. This is where all the magic's going to happen. If you have a candy thermometer, that's great, but I'm going to show you how to do it without a candy thermometer because this is easy sauce, not hard sauce. You're also going to need something to stir the sauce around with. So I've got this wooden spatula. You can also use a spoon. Really doesn't matter here. A silicone spatula is great too. And then you need something you can put your final sauce in, which I'm using just a Pyrex glass. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. So I'm going to turn the heat on my pot. I'm going to turn it on to the highest setting, like a medium high setting is good. But since I've made this a few times, I'm going to go on the highest setting. So just give me a sec. Great. So I've got it up on the highest setting. In my bowl here, I've already pre-measured out my corn syrup and sugar. I'm going to dump it right in the bowl. And what I'm going to be doing with this, as soon as I've dumped it in, is I'm going to be basically heating it up to about 290 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit so it starts caramelizing. Alrighty. So with caramel sauce, you know, it's really not healthy. It's purely, it's already boiling. Caramel sauce is literally fat and sugar. That's all it is, which makes it super delicious, especially in anything. With your caramel sauce too, you don't have to just stick to making a plain salted caramel sauce. I was thinking earlier to add in some balsamic to make it kind of like a balsamic caramel, or some hot chili flakes. I think chili flakes would be a really nice addition to this to make like a spicy caramel, which you could then put on pizza and make a, let's turn that down a bit. You could put like a spicy caramel on pizza to have like that salty sweet. You know, I've seen hot honey on pizza before, and it's quite good from the spiciness of it. So at least like having a salty sweet, especially in a pizza or a fry setting, is really good. So this vegan caramel sauce would be a great replacement for any sort of honey or sugary kind of component that you'd want to put on top. All right, so right now I'm just kind of mashing the sugar and the corn syrup around. It's looking kind of golden. If you used a clear corn syrup, you'd be able to see the transition that we're going to have here when the sugar caramelizes, because it's going to start to boil in a bit. But we don't use clear vanilla we don't use clear corn syrup, and the reason behind that is it contains usually vanillin, and vanillin could potentially have animal byproducts in it used in its processing. So we avoid that. Using golden corn syrup is more widely available. So golden is fine. You just got to pay attention to colors, and that's, if you have a candy thermometer at home, then it's really no big deal. You just wait until it hits 290 and then you can move to the next step. If you don't have a candy thermometer though, like me, then you're just gonna have to watch for the visual cues. So all I'm doing right now is it's on high heat and I'm just stirring it a lot. We're trying to get the heat consistent throughout the whole thing and it boiling at a similar temperature. We don't want to just leave it, because then one part of it is going to boil, the other part might not. You also want to try and scrape down the sides of it. Now for a pro candy maker, they were watching this. This isn't making, it's not really like making real caramel. There's a lot of things that you should do that are a little bit better form and when making caramel sauce, but this is again, easy, simple caramel sauce. And so we're not really worried about certain things happening with the sugar. As long as we keep stirring it and making sure things are consistent, we're going to get a pretty decent result, right? I'm just going to scrape out a bit more here. So it's starting to boil more now. Let me see if I can pull it off to show you. Yeah, see, it's like getting liquidy. It's boiling. We're still not there yet, though. I'm just going to let it be for a bit. Cool. And then I'm going to put some coffee here. So good. Shout out to Fireback Coffee rolling on there. That was just some delicious Fireback coffee that I made in the pour over this morning. Fantastic small business. Definitely during this time, if you guys can, I know situations are tough and it's hard, but anything you can do to support a small business, especially in the vegan or vegetarian community, it means the world. It really does. Because we're all in this together. Every single one of us has got some sort of major challenge that we're facing in this time. And, if you love, especially organizations like the TVA or us or Fireback or Sausage Party or Coven, or there's so many, like Pierogi Me, there's so many great vegan businesses that I could list. Fair Square, Vegan Jet Setter, I don't even want to list all of them. Chickpeas Veg, like there's so many that need your help in this time, and any little bit that you can give them, whether it's like a meal order placement box or joining them along for a cooking class or just liking them on Facebook and sharing them with all your friends and getting more social engagement for them. It literally means the world. So thank you so much, regardless, for tuning in. And I appreciate each and every one of you waking up and joining us to make caramel sauce. And I hope that, yeah, you use this time when we're all trapped at home to really start engaging and supporting the local economy as much as we can. So a little update here. So we're getting kind of more goopy. It's boiling, not there yet. Keep it going. For those of you who are joining us now and haven't actually just tuned in, we are on the Toronto Vegetarian Association Facebook page live and on Adult Desserts Instagram live, and we're making vegan caramel sauce, 3-ingredient vegan caramel sauce, super easy, really simple, great to put on anything, especially salty or sweet. I like it on ice cream, I like it in cakes. I would love to put it on French fries instead of a gravy and do kind of like a nice salty sweet version. What else? I could see it on pizza if you wanted to replace like a hot honey and put some chili flakes in there. There's so much opportunity with this. It really is such a flexible sauce. So we're still boiling, but it's still going. I think I might turn it up a tiny bit more. So basically, you're going to keep boiling this, right? And you're going to boil it until it starts to turn color. And so when I say when it turns color, it's going to start looking brown. And when it starts to turn color, it's going to turn color really quick. Like it's going to go suddenly from like this nice light golden that you've got going here to dark brown, almost burnt in like 10 seconds or less. Like we're getting there even now. That's why I say keep stirring it, because you'll have more time to be able to see the color transition. It'll also start, you know, right now it's kind of bubbly and boily. When it starts getting to the point where it's ready to go, it'll actually turn into it'll turn more into a liquid. It won't be as foamy as this is right now. Those are the two visual signs that you'll know that it's about the right temperature that you can add in all of your coconut cream. So right now we're still foamy, but it is turning into a more golden color. I don't know if you can see it. It's not as light. It's not there yet though, because it's still kind of foamy. We're really close. It's becoming way less foamy. And once you've gotten to that stage where you've reached a color where the caramel is starting to turn very much more golden, like you can kind of see it's getting there. And then this is where you got to play around with it. It can either be, you can either jump ahead and go for it when it's just a bright golden, or if you want to have more of a caramelized or a little bit of a burnt caramel, then just keep going a little bit further. But again, you've got like 10 seconds here to make a choice. So pay attention. You can see here, it's now getting even more golden. We're almost there, still a bit too foamy. Oh, you can start smelling the sugar starting to burn, then you know. It's like we're pretty much there. Yeah. We're pretty much there. I want to give it a bit more and push it, but you guys, if it's starting to smell like burning sugar, then you can go ahead and throw in the coconut cream. I'm gonna put it a little bit more. Yeah, no, I think we're good. Okay, we're ready. This is the part where it's gonna make a lot of noise because this is cold and this is not. Turn that down a little bit. Alrighty, so what just happened there? What happened there was that we added a really, really cold, because it came from the fridge, we just added some cold coconut cream into this boiling hot 300-degree sugar. And to see here, this is all that caramel that you just made. It's kind of solidifying. It's okay, it happens. Basically, it's like you basically shocked your caramel from being really, really hot as a liquid form to now a solid. And if you were just to make caramel candy with this, this is you know, this is what you'd get if you poured it on a sheet and let it cool off. But we're making caramel sauce, so we got to add that fat in. And so I'm adding the fat. I'm stirring it around. For those of you who are joining us right now, we are in the middle of making caramel sauce. It's vegan, 3-ingredient, super simple caramel sauce. You can put it on literally anything. Right now, I just heated up all of our sugar. and corn syrup, and I just added in all the coconut cream, which is their fat replacement. And right now what I'm doing is I'm scraping the bottom to get that hard caramel candy off the bottom, and so it doesn't burn more while it's still on high heat. And I'm basically stirring it in with the coconut cream to create a sauce. This is the part where you basically are going to keep stirring it and keep boiling it until the caramel goop dissolves. And then even once it's dissolved, you're going to continue boiling it down. And the more you boil it down, the more of a thick sauce you're going to get. So if you don't boil it down a lot, you're going to have a very runny sauce. If you boil it down for like 10 minutes, then you're going to have a very thick ganache. And if you want to skip this step, you can very easily just add in a half teaspoon of agar-agar. If you want a thick caramel, you don't have to boil it all the way down, but you just have to make sure that once you have put the cream in, that you do get it back up to a boil. That'll help all the sugar dissolve and evenly disperse throughout your sauce. But yeah, look at that. Like, that's just a beautiful color. For those of you who can see it, it's got such a nice golden caramel tinge. It's so good. It smells like a Werther's original. That's how good it smells in here. So not bad, I'm getting there. Let's turn it a little bit more. Now see with caramel, you don't want to really leave it because it could change on you. Like right now, I just turned the heat up and it's starting to bubble and boil. If I were to just leave it, and like this could probably boil over. So I want to stick around to keep stirring it, so we're not going to have anything burn or overflow and then have a big mess to clean up. Go. So we've got a nice boil and bubble going on. I'm going to turn it down because this is going to boil over in a second. I should have put it in a bigger pot. Oh well. This is the part actually where I might get a whisk out. If it's around. No, I think the whisk. Let me check and see. Do I have another whisk here? Yes. All right, it's not quite a whisk, but I've got a beater. At this point too, this scraper isn't really, I've done scraping most things. I'm just gonna whisk it now. Ideally, you're using an actual whisk. So I'm gonna, whisking it allows you to keep it at bay so it doesn't overflow the top. You can see there's a lot of steam coming off the top here. This is good. I am reducing all of the water that was in the coconut cream because yes, there's still water. I was reducing it out so we get a nice thicker sauce, not a runny caramelly mess. We're gonna keep it going. And kind of like, if you can see here, I wish I could bring it up to you, but for the most part, you can see it in the cameras, I can see. So we've got some very small bubbles coming on the top here, right? We're gonna keep boiling this down until the bubbles are bigger and they're not popping as much. Right now, they're very small, they're popping pretty quickly. That's because there's a lot of water. I wanna reduce it down because I want a little bit of a thicker, more viscous caramel sauce. And I like to call it, when I'm training our employees, that you're going down to the warty phase, where it starts to look like you've got warts growing on the top of your caramel, which sounds disgusting. But it's a great visual cue if you're not gonna be using thermometers to be able to know if your caramel sauce is thick. You could also just stop it here and pour it in if you like a running caramel, totally up to you. And if you had agar-agar, this is the point where you would add it because agar-agar activates when it's boiling. When you put agar-agar into something cold, it does not activate. And for those of you who don't know, agar-agar is a vegan gelatin replacement made from seaweed. It's traditional in a lot of Asian jellies and desserts, especially if you've ever seen raindrop cake. Agar-agar is there to make it happen. It is like 10 to 100 times more as strong as gelatin, so you don't need to use nearly as much to be able to get a very similar gelatinous result as you would with gelatin. which makes it great and very much more cost effective. You can pick up agar-agar again at your local Asian grocery store. That's the best place to get it. If you buy it, I often find agar-agar at a place that isn't an Asian grocery store sometimes is not as good quality, or maybe sometimes a little bit overpriced because it is a specialty ingredient, but it's used in Asian cooking all the time. So you can easily find it at your local Nations or TNT. See here, I have not stopped spinning this. And right now you can look a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, the bubbles are getting a little bit bigger now, but they're still popping very quickly, so it's not quite ready yet. So we keep spinning it down. Again, you can stop it at any point that you want to. Alrighty, what are we looking at right now? So the bubbles are getting bigger. Still not to the level that I want. But it's definitely getting there. I'm not at risk of having it boil over now, so I could probably stop spinning it as much. Instead of consistently, I could probably just do it once in a while. So I'm gonna pick my coffee. Take it from there. You guys don't even know how good this smells. It's like, so let's talk about how you can jazz up your caramel a bit more for those of you who have tuned in. For those of you who are just filling in right now as well too, I'm going to repeat myself again. We are making vegan 3-ingredient caramel, which is actually 5-ingredient caramel, but the basics of it are 3. We use white sugar, corn syrup, and coconut cream. We're boiling it all down on the stove to get to the consistency we want, which is a warty kind of big bubble look. And right now we're getting to that point with my caramel. I'm actually going to turn it down because the other thing that's happening is it's starting to get really dark. And that means that the sugar is getting really hot again, which means that it could be caramelizing more. So I might call it quits here. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, it's looking saucy. If there's ever a point where you want to test your caramel, grab a little ice bucket beside you. Like just take some ice, put it in a bowl, and you can dump your caramel and just see what kind of consistency it is. That's another way of telling how the state of your candy making if you don't have a thermometer. I've turned it down. Oh, look at that. It is beautiful. This is the golden color that you want in your caramel. It looks unfreaking real. All right. Excellent. I'm pretty much done here because this is a good level of color that I want. Let's turn this down. Yeah, these darn studio kitchens. Oh, okay. Off. There we go. Perfect. Okay, great. So I have turned down my caramel. It is slowly stopping the bubble. I'll pull this up for you guys so you can see. It's still boiling, but it is looking mighty fine, if I must say for myself. It's looking fabulous on both sides. I am super excited about this. You can tell that this is a good caramel sauce because it's got that nice dark caramel. So I added my cream right at the right time when it wasn't too burnt. And then I boiled it down to a level that looks pretty good, very saucy. The only way you're gonna know what consistency this is once, it's obviously cooled down. If I wanted it to be thicker, I could, like if I get this done, it's cold and it's not saucy enough or thick enough for me. I want it more like a ganache. I could re-boil it. Not the best thing to do though, to boil it down, but like twice. You should really only do it once. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So final thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add in some earth balance. Add in 2 tablespoons. This is just giving that extra fat and kind of mimicking the butter if you were to add butter into a caramel sauce. So I'm just adding in a little bit of that, and it's melting kind of like that cute comical cube of butter would melt on a pancake. Just bringing that around. And you can use whatever favorite vegan margarine butter replacement that you want here. It doesn't really matter. I love Earth Balance and I swear by it. So that's what I've got tons of in the fridge and what we use in the bakery, other than coconut oil, but you can use any vegan margarine here. I wouldn't use coconut oil, it's gonna get too coconutty, but a little vegan margarine goes a long way. For those of you just joining and queuing in, we are just finishing off our vegan caramel sauce, 3 ingredients, super easy, super delicious, super versatile. We boiled sugar and corn syrup to about 290 to 300 degrees. And then after we were done that, we put in some coconut cream. We boiled that down in with it to make a beautiful sauce. And now we just added a little Earth Balance. And now I like a salty caramel. I don't know about you guys, but I love the salty caramel. So I'm gonna add a little bit of flaked sea salt into it, about 2 teaspoons. I like mine salty, so sometimes I add like almost a tablespoon, because there's so much sugar in this anyway, right? It's literally just sugar and fat. So I'm gonna add in that salt and dissolve it in. I'm doing that now, not while it's boiling. I'm doing it right now. Salt is one of those things, and the butter is one of those things that you add at the end. You don't want to add them while it's boiling because it'll increase the temperature and also the burning point. Vegan margarines tend to burn very easily compared to coconut cream, which has a much higher burning point of about 400 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas Earth Balance is about like 250, 300. Same with salt. Salt will increase the temperature overall in your sauce, so you don't want to add it too soon. But if you're going to diversify and add different things to make it funky, like some chili flakes, you could probably add those before. Some balsamic you could probably add in while it's boiling. But in the end of the day, I'd say if you're doing any add-ons whatsoever, just put them in right at the end once you're done boiling. It's your best bet. Another really cool thing you can do too with this caramel sauce is make it into a chocolate sauce. And all you have to do to make it into a chocolate sauce is at the end, while you're here, you're going to add in about 1/3 of a cup of cocoa powder, and you're going to whisk it in while it's still hot. And then once you let it cool, it'll become a delicious chocolate sauce. As I said, lots of versatility with this recipe. So we're basically good. I'm going to try some, see how it goes. Oh, it's delicious. Really, really nice. Nice caramel flavor, not super coconutty. And that's because Savoy coconut cream is so good quality that that overpowering coconut flavor you sometimes get in coconut cream is just not there. It's like pure goodness. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Great caramel sauce. Anyways, that is how simple it is to make a delicious vegan caramel sauce. Thank you guys so much for joining us, whether you're on Instagram Live with us or on the TVA's Facebook page. Really appreciate you coming out to the Vegan Spring Market. If you guys are interested in learning more about Dolled Up Desserts and want to stay up to date, you can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Dolled Up Desserts Baking. If you like baking with me, I have a YouTube channel at Dolled Up Desserts on YouTube. You can also sign up for our newsletter, which has a ton of really awesome freebies and recipes and fun things that you can keep up to date. And if you want to do something more like this bake-along sort of style stuff, we're actually doing bake-alongs for the next few months while we're all at home. And it's exactly like this, a digital baking class where you can join in live, ask questions, and be part of it and actually bake along with us. If you want to learn more about bake along, you can definitely check out our website at dolledupdesserts.com. That's dolledupdesserts.com to join up there. And if you subscribe for our newsletter, we've got some really special sweet discounts for joining up with Bake Along. I had a really fun time baking with all of you today. A big thank you to the Toronto Vegetarian Association for allowing me to use their platform to share some awesome caramelly goodness with you on this Sunday morning. I hope you guys try it at home. If you have any questions, reach out to us. And once again, please, if you can, support the Toronto Vegetarian Association during these times. They keep the vegan and vegetarian plant-based society and lifestyle alive. They run Toronto Veg Fest, they run the spring market, the winter market. They do a lot of activism, a lot of advocacy. They have a ton of resources that can help anybody learn more about a plant-based lifestyle. It's really important, especially in these times, to support small businesses and non-for-profits. So definitely give them a like on Instagram or Facebook and check them out. And yeah, that's all from me, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and have a beautiful and peaceful Sunday. Thank you. Alrighty.